What I wanted to talk about is regarding the packages that you sent out. And we've talked before about my request for a forensic analysis of what they find. Not necessarily they found a bad roof, but why they found a bad roof, so that we can really evaluate the current maintenance practices. And either they're going to be found to be adequate or inadequate. So going forward, it only helps everyone to know that we understand why. And I've mentioned before the things about the flat roofs. Did we use caulk that we know fails after 3 years? Did we use the most modern mastics to seal the vertical surfaces of the flashing? You know, there's a whole bunch of reasons why things fail. Northeast had a bunch of windows and stuff put in. If they find that those are leaking or around the outsides, were they installed kind of haphazardly, or were they installed to the current best practices? Those are the kind of things that I really would like to have seen in this package, and it really is just to find out what the condition is as opposed to why the condition is. And I think that's something that maybe it's something that could be addended later, but that would be helpful for everybody. It would give credibility to the current maintenance practices, or it could identify that we really need to do a major overhaul for preventive predictive maintenance in the future. The other thing I would point out is some of the things I've noticed here. I think we're still going to be going forward in the bond with the free pre-K, which again is an issue for me. And I'd like to point out that Mississippi Miracle, those people were not the highest echelon in the in social strata, and they've turned it around. It is clear that phonics and a heavy emphasis is where I think this board needs to go. So I would encourage you to look at that and the legislation that supported it, that they implemented, because their results are undeniable. And I think when we go ahead for the bond and you want to have better learning spaces, the new modern spaces, which I totally disagree with, what did they do, and why is their reading and math performance up to 4th grade, you know, one of the best in the nation, where they came from the bottom? And that's just something I'd encourage you to do. So thank you.
Bill, thank you. Thank you, Bill. Just understood on the roofs and the point that you make. On the phonics, I have a 1st grader and a 3rd grader. Every single week, on Sunday night, I get an email from my kid's teacher that says, what are they working on for the week? Within that email is specifically what they're working on with phonics. This week, my daughter told me about how she's learning when there are 2 vowels together in a word and which vowel works. We are doing those things that you just mentioned. If you have any questions about it, we can address them. But please don't think for a second that we're not teaching phonics. This is how we teach reading. It's how we're addressing issues to make sure that parents are engaged in what we're doing to educate our students, and how we as parents best work with our students to help the teacher throughout the day, so that there is that trifecta of the student, the teacher, and the parent all working together.
My understanding was that phonics wasn't universally being taught throughout all classrooms throughout the district. If that's incorrect, then I would like to be corrected.
That is incorrect.
So I'd like to add that we also just brought U-Fly into the schools this year, which is certainly, Penny can talk more about this, but it is phonics based, and we're using it specifically for the phonics for K through 2. So it's integrating into our current curriculum to use the phonics.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Renita Bonadies.
Good afternoon, Renita Bonadies. I want to be sure I understand the purpose of today's special meeting. After the bond proposal was defeated in May, it was reported to the Midland Daily News and to me through FOIA that there was no cost for marketing in that campaign. I questioned that, but no update was ever publicly reported. Then the public was told that the district would take bids for a strategic planning firm to help get input from the community to better assess things going into the next bond campaign and prepare a marketing plan. Those 10 bids went to the administration to evaluate and choose the recommended firm. Why is this significant? Since the FFO committee did not take on this responsibility to review the 10 bids, it allowed the superintendent to make the recommendation. This means that unlike the standard I've heard for 4 years, that we always take the lowest bid, would not apply. And indeed, the lowest bid was not taken and recommended by the superintendent to the board. For the general public to understand why the lowest bid is the default, it needs to understand why all the MPS board subcommittee meetings are off limits to the public. MPS believes because they don't take any votes and take the lowest bid, that no decisions are being made, and therefore the meetings do not fall under the Open Meetings Act. I still don't agree with this reasoning. At the August meeting, President Roush said the district will put out a request for proposal, RFP, to do a new facilities assessment. I looked through this RFP and was curious about some of the seemingly duplicated efforts on the future campaign expenses. I noticed in this proposal that there's a request for information to assist in conducting public surveys, campaign services, including conduct meetings with community groups, assist MPS in all forms of communication, and prepare written and graphic campaign material for distribution and display. So is this really just a facilities assessment? And what is the contract with Omnitech with a base price of $43,750 plus actually covering? How many taxpayer dollars will be used to tell the community the truth about the needs of the district versus the wants, or is this just to sell the bond better? The agenda packet did not include the 3 presentations, so I am to assume that the board members will be seeing and hearing this data for the first time at this meeting. The agenda packet should include what was provided to the board preceding the meeting, and the agenda packet we received was simply the agenda that is available online. This means that the lowest bid will not be required because this meeting is open to the public. So how honest and transparent is the district being with the public? How many FOIA requests and how much money does it take to see just some of what is going on here? What truth are we really to believe? And the board chose this date, which is not a very convenient time for the public to attend a special meeting.